Standard forms have very specific applications, but another form, which is called the general form, is applicable in under every situation. Okay, equation of a straight line in its general form is applicable under any situation. For example, I'll give you an example after this. Let me just state the general form for the time being. The general form of the equation of a straight line. The general form of the equation of a straight line is ax plus by plus c is equal to 0. This is called the general form. Whenever a straight line is given in this form, we say it is given in the general form. So for example, if you have uh, the equation as 2x plus 3y equal to minus 3. Okay, this is the equation given to you. You want to write in general form, you convert the right hand side to 0. That is, you transpose minus 3 from the right hand side to the left hand side. So you get 2x plus 3y plus 3 is equal to 0. This is the general form. Okay. So in most of the cases, the equation will either be given to you in this form, okay, which you can in one step you can convert to a general form, or it will be given to you in this form, in the general form itself. But the question here really here is that if an equation of a straight line is given in general form, then how to convert to standard forms? Now, as I told you, all the standard forms are not required. Only conversion of the general form to the slope intercept form is required. Okay, so let us discuss this in the form of a problem. The problem here is find the slope and y-intercept find the slope and y-intercept of the following lines. Number one, x by 3 plus y by 4 is equal to 1. Second, y minus 3 is equal to 0. And the third is 3x plus 5y plus 7 is equal to 0. Okay, these three lines are there. Consider the first one. I want to find out the slope of the first one. So we have x by 3 plus y by 4 is equal to 1. Take the LCM. LCM is 12. So you get 4x plus 3y is equal to 1. Means you get 4x plus 3y is equal to 12. Means you get. Now what you do here is, instead of what you do here is you try to write this form whenever in a problem you are asked to find out the slope of a straight line. Always try to write it in this form, the slope intercept form, y is equal to mx plus c. Okay, if you want to find the equation of a straight line, you can, if you we would like to write this equation in the form y is equal to mx plus c. Why? We'll see. So now that means convert this to, that means now write this in terms of y. 3y is equal to minus 4x plus 12. So now you get y is equal to minus 4x plus 12 divided by 3, which can now be written as y is equal to minus 4 by 3x plus 12 by 3. Okay, this. So now comparing with the slope intercept form, comparing with slope intercept form, comparing with slope intercept form, we intercept form, what is the form? Write down the form. Y is equal to mx plus c. We get slope m is equal to, now see, this is m, so this part becomes your m. So this is minus 4 by 3. So the slope of the straight line is minus 4 by 3. And what about the y-intercept? C, this plus c is here. So plus c is 12 by 3. So y-intercept c is equal to 12 by 3, which is 4 plus 4 units. So y-intercept is plus 4 units and the slope is minus 4 by 3. Now remember this technique, because in most of the conversions we will be required to write the equation of the straight line in this form in order to find out the slope. We don't normally require the y-intercept. Y-intercept is normally not required. Okay, so in most of the cases, in 99% of the questions that you will come across, you will have to write this equation in this form in order to find out the slope of the straight line. Let us see the next one. The next equation is y minus 3 is equal to 0. Y minus 3 is equal to 0. Now what is the uh, y-intercept of this? Can anyone tell me what is the y-intercept of this? What will this straight line look like, first of all? Okay, this equation can be written as of the form y is equal to b. And y is equal to b is what? If you remember the standard form, y is equal to b is an equation of a straight line which is parallel to the x-axis. And see here, the sign of b is what? Minus or plus? B is equal to 3, plus 3 in fact. That means this is an equation. This is a straight line that is parallel to the x-axis and at a distance of 3 units from the x-axis. If you want to draw this straight line, what we are going to do here is we are going to take 3 units here. 1, 2, 3 units in the positive direction of y, because y is b is equal to plus 3 here. And then we are going to draw a straight line parallel to the x-axis. Okay, passing through this point. And what is this point? 0, 3. This is what the line looks like. Okay, so now what is the slope of this line? Anyone? Y-intercept, therefore y-intercept, what do you get? Y-intercept, I clearly see this y-intercept to be 3 units. This is 3 units. So y-intercept here is 3 units. Tell me about the slope. Who can tell me the slope of this line? Anyone? Vivek, can you tell me the slope of this line? Archita?
Yes, sir.
Yes, Vivek, tell me the slope of this straight line. This line is y minus 3 is equal to 0.
Sir, I can't tell.
Anyone else? Archita?
Yes, sir.
Tell me the slope of this line. What is the slope first? Slope is nothing but the tan of the inclination. What is the inclination with the what? With the x-axis in the positive direction. What is the inclination of this line with the x-axis? What is the angle that this line makes with the x-axis? Can anyone tell me? Can anyone tell me what is the angle made by this line with the x-axis? It is 0 degree. Two lines that are parallel to each other make an angle of 0 degree with each other. So therefore, what is the slope?
45 degree.
Why 45
Infinite.
degree?
Infinite.
Why infinite?
Sir, because slope is zero, no, sir. That's
So what? Slope is 0. What is the inclination here? Inclination with the x-axis? Inclination of the line with the x-axis is 0. 0 degree or whatever. 0 is 0. 0 degree, 0 radians, whatever measure you take, 0, it is 0. Right? So therefore, what is the slope? Slope is, what is the definition of slope? Tan of the inclination, right? The inclination is 0. And what is the value of tan 0? 0.
zero.
So therefore, the slope of the line is 0. Can you tell me what is the slope of this line? A line that is perpendicular to the y-axis. In fact, parallel to the y-axis. Can you tell me what is the slope of this line?
Tan 90.
Tan
90
90,
degree.
which is infinity. So the slope of this line is infinity. Okay. So any line, remember, any line perpendicular to the x-axis has slope infinity, and any straight line parallel to the x-axis will have slope 0. So that is what this problem was about. So this next equation that is we consider is this 3x plus 5y plus 7 is equal to 0. 3x plus 5y plus 7 is equal to 0. Again, we want to write this equation in the form y is equal to mx plus c. So we are writing this 5y is equal to minus 3x plus 7. That means y is equal to minus 3x plus 7 by 5. And this is minus 3 by 5 x plus 7 by 5. So comparing with y is equal to mx plus c, we get slope m
Minus 3 by
is
5.
equal to minus 3 by 5 and y-intercept is 7 by 5. That's it. 7 by 5 plus 7 by 5 units. This is the y-intercept. Okay. Now, just a small question. This is, you won't require this conversion. But tell me, how will you convert this straight line? Suppose I give you a straight line, 3x plus 5y plus 7 is equal to 0. How will you convert this straight line to a point slope form? We have already converted the three equations, the two equations, in fact, to in these examples into a slope intercept form. How will you convert this straight line to a point slope form? Any idea? No idea. Anyone? Okay. So I'll not discuss this if you haven't even tried. But I'll just give you a shortcut, okay, to find out the slope. This will be useful for your class 11, 12 also. Suppose we have equation of a straight line as in the general form it is given to you in this manner. Just the equation that we have considered here we take. Okay. Now without converting this to slope intercept form, how will you find out the slope? You can remember this formula. Slope slope m is equal to the slope of this line. Remember, always whenever it is given to you in this form, general form, without even converting it to the slope intercept form, you can find out the slope. How will you find out the slope? It is minus coefficient of x divided by coefficient of y. That is the formula. You can remember, this will be very useful. You can find out the slope in one line. Okay, but you will be required, normally you are expected to uh, calculate this, in fact convert this to your, required to convert this to your slope intercept form and then find out the slope. But anyway, this is a small shortcut. You have 3x plus 5y plus 7 is equal to 0. The slope m is minus, what is the coefficient of x here? Coefficient of x is 3. We give a minus sign, coefficient of x 3, and divide by, what is the coefficient of y? It is 5. That is the slope. So directly you're getting the slope. Also, suppose another straight line I give you, 5x minus 2y plus 1 is equal to 0. And I ask you to find out the slope of this. And you can find out the slope of this as, again, minus coefficient of x divided by coefficient of y. So minus coefficient of x here is plus 5, right, plus 5. And the coefficient of y here is minus 2. Whenever there is a minus sign, you write it with the minus sign. So this minus cancel there. So simply get slope as 5 by 2. That is how you convert in shortcut. In many of the problems, especially if the second part of the this chapter was there in your syllabus, then we would require this form would have helped you a lot. But anyway, let us now move on to problem number 9 of the textbook. All the theory part is over. Okay, all the standard forms I've discussed. Let us now move on to the problems on straight lines. Okay, we start with number 9 here. If you read this problem, it states that the figure, uh, uh, the given figure represents lines y is equal to x plus 1 and y is equal to root 3x minus 1. Okay, let's draw the figure because the figure is hardly visible here. This is one of the few problems where a figure is given. Normally figures are not given in this chapter. So x and the y axis, say this is your origin, x, y, and this is your x dashed, and this is your y dashed. And two straight lines are given to you here. Okay, one straight line is given to you in this manner, and the other straight line is given to you in this manner. Okay, and the equation of these straight lines are given to you as, this equation is given to you as y is equal to x plus 1, and this equation is given to you as y is equal to root 3x minus 1. These two equations are given. The question here is, write down the angle which the line makes with the positive direction of the x-axis and hence determine theta. So theta here, this theta is given to you here as this. Okay, so the first part of the question states that what is the angle that the lines, each of these lines, make with the positive direction of the x-axis. So what is the angle that these lines make with the positive direction? First of all, you consider this line. This line makes an angle this with the positive direction of the x-axis, right? And what is the angle that this line makes with the positive direction of the x-axis? This. So these two green and red angles are the angles that the lines make with the positive direction of the x-axis. And what is that called? What is that angle called? The angle that the straight line makes with the positive direction of the x-axis. What is it called? Inclination, right? So you need to determine these two angles. How do you determine? So first of all, we start with the first equation. We can determine the slope and then we can determine the angles. Okay. So first, whenever you want to determine an inclination of a straight line, that means inclination is related to slope. And that means if an equation of the straight line is given, we would like to find out the slope of the straight line. So we start with first one. So we have y is equal to x plus 1. Okay. So comparing with y is equal to m1x plus c. Why m1x? Because I'm considering two different slopes, m1 and m2. m1x plus c1. We get slope. What is slope m1 here? Slope m1 here is 1 because the coefficient of x here is 1. Now see, if m1 is 1, that means if this angle makes an angle, say theta 1, therefore, but what is the slope? What is the definition of slope? The definition of slope is the tan of the angle made with the positive direction of the x-axis. That means tan of theta 1 must be equal to 1. Okay, that means theta 1 must be equal to, in fact, we can write this as tan theta 1 is equal to tan theta 1 is equal to tan 45. That means theta 1 is equal to 45 degrees. So this is the angle that the straight line makes with the positive direction of the x-axis. So this angle we have determined this is equal to 45 degrees. Let us find out the green angle. So very similarly, we have y is equal to root 3x minus 1 comparing with y is equal to m2x plus c2. We get slope m2 is equal to root 3. Okay, we don't need the y-intercept. So we do no need to write the y-intercept. So this is your slope m2 is root 3. Now if I call this angle theta 2, okay, then what happens? m2 equal to root 3. That means tan theta 2 must be equal to root 3. That means tan theta 2. And what is the value of root 3? Which what tan of what angle is root 3? Tan of 60 degree. That means theta 2 is 60 degree. So we have got this angle to be 60 degree. Okay. Now how do we find out theta with the help of these two angles? That is the next question. Hence determine theta. How do you find out the angle theta? If you see, consider this triangle, consider this triangle. And what do you see? Theta 2 is the exterior angle of this triangle. And you know that exterior angle is equal to sum of two interior opposite angles of a triangle. So theta 2 must be equal to theta plus theta 1. Right or wrong? I say theta 2
Yes, sir.
must be equal to theta plus theta 1. Because you know that theta 2 is the exterior angle of a triangle. And theta 1 are two interior opposite angles. And you know that exterior angle is equal to sum of two interior opposite angles. We can write theta 2 is equal to theta plus theta 1. And therefore, you know theta 2 and theta 1, you can determine theta. Let's write. So we have theta 2 is equal to theta plus theta 1. And you will give your reason. Exterior angle of a triangle is the sum of in a triangle. Exterior angle of a triangle is the sum of its interior opposite angles. Okay, now just put the values. Theta 2 we have got how much? Theta 2 we have got 60. Okay, theta we need to determine, and theta 1 we have got as 45. That's it. So what is the angle between the lines? Angle between the lines is 60 minus 45, which is 15 degree. Clear? Move on to the next problem, number 12 here. Let's see what number 12 states. Now figures are not normally given in this kind of, normally not given. Very few problems are there in which you will get figures, but it is not out of question also. Okay, most of the questions are figureless in this. Let us see number 12. The question here is the graph of the equation y is equal to mx plus c passes through the points 1 4 and minus 2 minus 5. Determine the value of m and c. This is number 12. The given um, the given equation is y equal to mx plus c. What form is this? Slope intercept form. Okay, this is given to you. They may not have given to you also, but they have given. Big-hearted the people they are. They have given. The given equation of the straight line is y is equal to mx plus c, and it passes through what points? It passes through 1 4 and 2 minus 5. It passes through it passes through 1 4 and minus 2 minus 5. These 2 points it passes through. You need to find out the value of m and c. We start with the first one. Since y is equal to mx plus c, if you remember, I told you that if a straight line passes through a particular point, then it must satisfy the equation of the straight line. So since this passes through 1 4, it must satisfy y is equal to mx plus c. So you put y is equal to 1. In fact, we put y is equal to 4. Therefore, y is equal to 4, and you put x is equal to 1. Okay, so you get an equation in m and c. So you get m plus c is equal to 4. Call this equation number 1. Since it passes through, now we use the second point. Since it passes through minus 2 minus 5, therefore put y is equal to minus 5. In y is equal to mx plus c, put y is equal to minus 5 and put x is equal to minus 2. So what do you get? Again, you get an equation in m and c. Call this equation number 2. We solve these two simultaneous equations and we can get m and c. How do you solve? The best way to solve is elimination method. Equation number 2, equation number 1, subtract. Minus, minus, minus. This cancels off. So you get minus 3m is equal to minus 9. That means m is minus 9 by minus 3. That means this is 3. So m is 3. Now how to determine the c? Put it in any of the equations. Putting m equal to 3 in say 1. We get, put m equal to 3. That means c is 4 minus 3 equal to 1 unit. C is the y-intercept. That is why you have written 1 unit. Okay, that was an easy problem here. Let us now move on to number 15, the last problem for today. Number 15, if you read the problem, it states that find the equation of a straight line whose inclination is 60 degree and which passes through the point 0, -3. So what is given here? Inclination. Say theta. I call the inclination theta. Let's say inclination theta is given to be 60 degree. And inclination with what? Inclination with the x-axis. Also, what is given? That it passes through, the straight line passes through 0, -3. Okay. So inclination, if it is given, the first thing that comes to your mind is the slope. So therefore, what is the slope of the straight line? It is tan theta, tan of the inclination, which is tan 60. And tan 60, you know, is √3. So you know m, you know slope. What else do you need to determine in order to get the equation of a straight line? You know the slope, and one point is also given to you. So you can, which standard form should you use? You know one point and you know the slope. Therefore, we use the point slope form. Okay, since since the straight line passes through 0, -3 and has slope m equal to √3, its equation is y minus y1 is equal to m x minus x1. M, you know, is √3. What are x1 and y1? This is your x1 and this is your y1. So here x1 is 0 and y1 is -3. Therefore, the required equation is y minus y1 is equal to m x minus x1. That's it. Y plus 3 is equal to √3x. We normally write this in the general form. So take x and y take everything on one side. So you get, if you take √3x on one side, you get minus √3x plus y plus 3 is equal to 0. But since the coefficient of x is negative and it does not look good when you're starting an equation and you have a negative, it does not look good. So what you do here is you convert that to positive. You can also write this as minus √3x. You can leave your answer here also, no problem. You'll get full marks. But still, minus of √3x minus y minus 3 is equal to 0. And that means you get √3x minus y minus 3 is equal to 0. So this is your required equation of the straight line. So I stop here for today.